Welcome to the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. I'm thrilled you're here. My name is Jason Elkins, and in addition to being your host, I'm also a former U.S. Army paratrooper, third-generation commercial hot air balloon pilot, paramotor pilot, ex-Montana fly fishing guide, advanced open water scuba diver, and a full-time nomad that's visited more than 30 countries on 6 continents. As a seasoned adventure travel expert with a passion for creating and sharing meaningful experiences, I'm on a quest to impact the lives of adventure travelers, the tour operators they rely on, and the communities that host them. Every week, I bring you exclusive interviews with fascinating adventure tourism experts who have agreed to share their personal stories, favorite destinations, and some invaluable travel insights they've picked up along the way. We'll enjoy a casual conversation, create some connections, and likely share some laughs. It's my hope that by the end of each episode, this big world will feel just a bit smaller. Let's get started, shall we? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Big World Made Small podcast for the adventure traveler. So happy to have each and every one of you back here today, and I'm also very excited. We've got a fascinating guest for you today. We've got Felex Musinguzi. He's the managing director of Kazinga Tours in Uganda. Felix, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, Jason, for putting me on this podcast.
Well, I have an opportunity to meet fascinating people like yourself, and it's I travel a lot, and this podcast is my opportunity to just have conversations and meet new people. So thank you so much for coming on. We spoke, I guess it was just last week, actually.
Yeah, last week.
I understand you're coming up on a big 20-year anniversary for your business. So I thought that would be fun to discuss. Before we get into your background and your story, let's give our listeners kind of an opportunity to understand what is Kazinga Tours Uganda, and it's not just Uganda. You're doing other stuff as well, but let's give our listeners an idea of what it is you do, and then we'll discuss why it is you do those things and how you got to that point. So what is Kazinga Tours Uganda?
Yeah, thank you very much. Kazinga Tours Uganda is a destination management company, a tour operator operating in Uganda now for 20 years. And of course, we do customized packages for direct clients. And until recently, we started doing business to business as a destination management company. That was after COVID.
Let's I think a lot of our listeners know what a destination management company is. But for those that aren't sure what that means, can you explain in your words, what is a destination management company? What do you do differently as a destination management company as opposed to just someone that people contact and book a tour with?
A destination management company is, we're a label company that represent companies outside Uganda, but would like to bring clients for tourism purposes. So we represent their brand 100% and also add extra incentives for our partners. For example, if a company from America is trusting us with the clients and we are going to do the ground handling work for them, we give them incentives like marketing materials. My business partner Vincent is a photographer for wildlife, and every year he comes to Uganda to take pictures for wildlife. He takes videos, and these are the incentives we give to our clients so that they are able to market and they bring clients to Uganda. We also have a program we call Ambassadors Program. This is for people who have not been to Uganda but they do business, they send clients. We teach them about Uganda as a destination. We show them national parks, we do a Zoom call, and we do it with the entire team so that in case they get an inquiry, it is easier for them to answer questions before they even call me. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
So an example of that could be maybe a travel planner or a travel agent, or maybe a company in the U.S. that offers places all around the world, and they want to also offer Uganda, but they don't have the connections in Uganda to put together a whole trip by themselves. So they go to somebody like you. You put it all together, customize it for their clients, and it sounds like when the clients show up in Uganda, they understand. Maybe you even meet them with a sign, or you have signs on your vehicles, or how do the clients that are used to working with, let's say, Mary in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to book their trip to Uganda, they get on the plane, they fly to Uganda, and then they meet your team. So do you show up as kind of like, hey, we work with Mary, we're here to pick you up and show you a good time, right?
Yeah, so what I meant that we represent the company 100% is that the plaque at the airport is reading the name of the agent in the US or
Okay.
in Canada or where, and the uniform that the driver guide is putting on is for the same company, and the
Okay.
vehicle is branded as the company in America or Canada that is sending us clients, because we build a partnership together, we are working together, and we want to make sure that the clients feel comfortable when they
Right.
arrive.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you, in your experience, people from maybe Europe or from the United States, are they more comfortable booking a trip to Uganda through somebody that maybe lives a little closer to where they live? Or what is your experience?
The experience with American clients is that they prefer to use the local agents, the agents from their country. We've had a few bookings for direct clients who come from the US, but the questions are always very many. They want to be sure that, they trust you, and you have to, why they should book with you, not another company. You have to prove that you have references from America, So it goes around, but at the end of the day, I think the business to business is the way to go. You build partnerships, and you make the work easy. And even after the test of COVID-19, people who had booked directly with local companies, I think some of them lost money. But
Right.
those who had booked with the local agent in their countries, it was easy for them to follow up with the money and all that. So we've
Okay.
been successful on that since COVID. Yeah, ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And also just things like time zone differences.
Yeah.
If you've never been to Africa, and we'll discuss this, but if you've never been to Africa, it can feel very overwhelming because it's
Yeah.
a big continent. We hear things about one place in Africa, and we think that it's the same everywhere in Africa, and it's not.
Yeah.
So it can be intimidating. Where if you're working with somebody that's based in the U.S. that maybe has been on trips to Africa, understands Africa, it might be a little bit more. I don't know. It feels a little bit more comfortable maybe to book with them. It sounds like.
Yeah, actually, some people think Africa is one country,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's until they come here they start realizing that, there are many countries within the African continent.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you? I think I know the answer to this question. I've been around for a while. I've been to Africa a couple times, but when I say I've been to Africa, it doesn't mean that I know Africa because, like you said, it's a big continent. I've been to Namibia, Zambia, South Africa, but there's still so much more in Africa that I don't know. So I guess my question is, if something is happening in West Africa, maybe in Ghana or wherever, Senegal,
Yeah.
and people in the U.S., they just kind of tend to see, oh, there's something's going on in Africa, so maybe we shouldn't go right now. Maybe we should wait another year or two. What would you like to share with our listeners about that, other than it's a big country or a big continent? See, I almost a big continent with many countries.
I'll actually give one example. There's Ebola outbreak in Congo. You must have heard about it. Congo is at the border. We border Congo. Also, Rwanda borders Congo. But only one incident happened that one patient from Congo came to Uganda for medical attention and he died. And all the news, the CNN, Al Jazeera, are recording Uganda and Congo are having rising issues. Cases of Ebola. And everybody saying we are not coming to Uganda because we see that everywhere in the news there is Ebola in Uganda and Congo. So
Yeah.
we have to differentiate that Uganda is not Congo,
Right.
And so in most cases, we get contradictions, about, those things. But, of late, of course, we have worked very hard to market Uganda as a destination. And the world is getting to know that it is indeed a part of Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That example was interesting because I was thinking if there was an outbreak in Mexico, for example,
Yeah.
and they took somebody from Mexico to California for treatment, and that person died in California, would the news be talking about, oh, there's an outbreak in the United States? So now people say, well, we better not go to New York because New York is in the United States, and somebody died in the United States from this outbreak in Mexico. People would be like, no, that's totally different. But when it comes to Africa, we all just in our heads, and when I say we, I'm not talking about you. We that aren't as familiar with Africa tend to clump it all together in our head, and there's Ebola in Africa, so I better not go to South Africa. I better not go to Uganda. I better not go to Morocco. And it's but people are scared. I get that. I'm not knocking it. Yeah. So okay, I think we touched on that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Unless there's something, unless you want to expand.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I think it just happened with a clear example, and so I think, for example, we have Africa Tourism Board that is trying to promote Africa as one destination, working with different countries. Mm-hmm. Then we have every country has got a tourism board. So as Africa, of course, we are trying to make sure that Africa is known for good reasons, because you've read in news every time they say, in Africa, there are diseases everywhere, there is this, there is war, there is everything, so in most cases, these things affect business,
Right.
Tourism in particular, yeah.
Do you think that having like you said it was the Africa Tourism Board?
Tourism Board, yeah.
And they promote, so they're trying to promote all of Africa.
Yeah.
And I'm curious though, if you spend a lot of time and money trying to promote all of Africa, like it's one place, does that sometimes cause problems? Because if you keep telling the US, people in the US or people in Europe, come to Africa, come to Africa, come to Africa, they kind of sometimes maybe think, okay, Africa is the destination. And when there's a problem in Africa, all of Africa suffers. Do you think it would be better if just each country was promoting itself as a place to go, as opposed to having people out there promoting Africa as a whole?
Yeah, you see, what happens, I don't know which famous expo, is it New York Times Expo? Have you attended that expo in the New York?
I think it used to be called the New York Times Travel Show, I think. I don't know if it's changed. Yeah. It's been a long time. Yeah.
So such big expos, what happens is that they have like Africa Hall. Then they have Middle East, they have North America, they have, So what happens is that the different boards of different national countries, they go to Africa board, and each of them is presenting their country, the uniqueness of their country. But of course, the Africa Tourism Board coming into place was to make sure that, people are collecting the different products, so that, we learn from each other. Because when you go to, for example, go to some West African countries like Gabon, when you go to Gabon, you go to Equatorial, Central African Republic, you go to DR Congo, you come to Uganda, and you go to Rwanda, Uganda. We all have different primates, especially the gorillas. In Uganda, Rwanda. Then when you go to Gabon and the other, they have lowland gorillas, Even Congo has part of the lowland gorillas. So in most cases, for the regional promotion and making sure that, the people outside there have different alternatives. You've been to Uganda today. What happens next year or whatever, So in the long run, it helps, to promote the whole continent.
Okay.
All in all, different countries fighting to say, okay, my country is better,
Of course.
Yeah.
We tend to do that everywhere in the world, don't we?
Yeah.
I think something else I want to ask you about is the cultural differences in these countries, because I'm not sure that's obvious to people that have not spent time in Africa. So I'd love to hear your take on the cultural differences between, people in Uganda or Zimbabwe or South Africa or Gabon, because I think that there's a lot more, obviously there's a lot in common, but I think that people that have never been to Africa just kind of think everybody in Africa kind of has the same culture and the same, maybe we think, oh, they all look alike, they all sound alike to us because we don't understand the native languages. But as somebody that lives in Uganda, what would you like to tell people about cultural diversity? I guess maybe in Uganda, but also in all of Africa.
Yeah, we have different the cultural differences, of course. For example, every country you go to, they have different cultural beliefs. But when you go to South Africa, you go to Zimbabwe, you go to these countries of Namibia. I mean, no, Botswana. You come, we're all Bantu. If you search about Bantu people, the Bantu, it is a linguistic group, the Bantu speaking. We have very many things in common. When we are speaking, the words we hear and we understand what people are talking about. Then we are differentiated by the cuisine. Of course, every country you go to has a different cuisine. But like in Uganda here, we are so unique that, we are so friendly. We are the friendliest country in the world. That you go on a street and you meet people, you mingle with them immediately, and they can welcome you, and and of course for the last 20 years, what Kazinga Tours has been doing is not only to bring tourists to the national parks, but to go deep into people's lives.
Okay.
We go into communities. We've organized homestay experience. Like you come to Uganda, of course you have to see a lion, see the mountain gorillas, but in the middle or at the end, you should go and spend a night in a local home. You eat with local people, learn how to cook, go to the garden and collect and get the food, cook it to the local person. And like where I come from, men don't go in the kitchen to cook. It is the responsibility of a woman to go and cook, and it is a sign of respect. To say, okay, my husband he's come from work, so I need to prepare food for him.
Right.
If you come to our community now as a man, you may help to maybe collect firewood and you bring home, and then the wife, and yours will participate in cooking, and maybe me and you will go to a trading center and have a beer with other men, and come back home for a drink. I mean, for dinner. And so it's so like when you come to Uganda, it is you really feel at home immediately.
Yeah. Do you? I imagine that people that come visit and they want to have an authentic experience, I'm sure they just accept what you just said. And I'm wondering, have you had guests that get upset when you say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, you can help my wife in the kitchen, and Mr. Jones and I are going to go drink a beer and gamble on the street. Do they sometimes get upset about that, or does everybody just kind of, okay, this when in Uganda, do as the Ugandans?
No, what happens, we don't just bring them into a community and say you are going to do this and all that. We give them a briefing before.
Okay.
We tell them what happens in the community. For example, in a local homestead, the children, before they go to school, for example, they have to wake up very early. They go to fetch water from the well. Mm-hmm. They bring it, they prepare something, or they go and they fetch firewood from the forest and come back and then shower and go to school.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the same. Whereas like in America, you guys, also when you go to Kampala, my capital city, of course, I now take my children to school. I drive them to school. But me, myself, it was very tough, So we have to give a briefing to the client so that they understand how it works. It is not a must that the woman must go and prepare whatever, but they can go and learn how things are done, learn how to weave baskets, what happens. Because you go to a craft shop, you see a ready basket, but you don't know how it is made.
Yeah.
You go to a traditional restaurant, you see the local food, you don't know how it is made. Yeah. Going deep and understand and participate, you make your hands dirty. Some of the things that have made us really do well, in the last 20 years, creating special experiences for clients.
Do you, if you have either a couple or just a man in a group that really likes to cook, maybe he's a chef, maybe he just really likes to cook, and he wants to learn how to make Ugandan food, is that an option?
Yeah. It's an option. Like we've done it. Like you have a big group, so people divide themselves in groups, so men and women can participate and do. But when you are deep in the village and they see a man trying to cook, they laugh at him. They think he's crazy, they think he's crazy. But this is how, like African tradition has been built that, and is given respect. But of course, growing up, we've known that, a man must also be responsible. You have to.
Yeah, there's the other side to
have
that.
Responsibilities. Have you provided for the family? Have you, all these things comes hand in hand,
Yeah. What about children? I suspect you've had groups or clients that come with their children.
Yeah.
And how do the children kind of participate in an activity like that? Do the Ugandan children, are they happy to have maybe kids from the US or kids from Europe playing with them, doing things with them, or is that, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you see, there are some communities where like children have never seen, in Uganda we call them Muzungu. A Muzungu is a white person. Muzungu,
Yeah.
So they have never seen a white man or a white woman in the community. So if it happens, they are so excited and they welcome them. And what they want to do, especially the children, we've done it. They want to touch the hair. They want to feel how it is. I remember growing up one time. It was a funny situation. This guy is is cycling around, so he passes through our community, and I think he wanted to go to the toilet. But then there is no toilet, So what he does, he goes somewhere in the bush, and he does his business. And when he left, the whole community went to see, and they confirmed if he's looking like theirs, like ours. I also went there to see. Is it really like ours?
Or is it white?
Something. It was something very interesting. Until now, when I grew up, I realized that these people, we think they are coming from the Mars or somewhere.
Yeah.
Coming here. So it was something like that. So the children, like we've had. I work with a school from the UK, and every year they bring about 60 students. Around 13, 15 years. And what we do is we take them into a community, and these guys have come from the UK, and they live luxury life. Everything is there. They have phones. They're really well off, So the idea is to bring them into the community that is very poor, where children don't wear shoes. They are not sure if they are going to have lunch. But they just go to school maybe with we get a book and cut it into two so that you can use it many times.
Oh yeah.
So we bring them there, they are integrated and they become friends, so that by the time they leave, they go back to the UK. They have a mindset change because technology now is everywhere. And then they have also taught something to the village children. So they integrate. So this happens a lot that, the children go there and they become friends, and, they mingle with the local people. And
Do you think that children, like, let's say you said this group is like maybe 13 to 15 years old.
Yeah.
Do you sense that children connect quicker and are more open with each other than adults? Like if you brought a similar size group of adults that are 40 to 50 years old and put them with some of the older people in the community there in the village, will they connect as quickly as the kids, or do you notice that the kids connect quicker, or what do you see?
It depends which community, but there is always like what we call culture shock. Culture shock. Now these children, like what I've noticed, like when they reach into the village, that culture shock comes in, and then they become shy, and somehow, most of the things are strange. There is no flushing toilet. They are using a pit latrine, So for children, sometimes it is very complicated, but later when they, they get used, it is okay. But for
Takes some.
adults, it becomes easier to, to really mingle and uh, connect with the local people.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a little different than I thought. So I'm
yeah,
happy I asked that question, but it makes sense because if you look at kids, that 13 to 15 is a really difficult time for
very
kids.
difficult. Yeah, yeah,
They have a hard time making friends in their
yeah,
own community. Sometimes
yeah,
there's a yeah, it can be a challenge. I have kids, and I remember when I was that age. So I also remember when I was 12, I went to Australia,
yeah,
and the children in Australia were fascinated. We looked the same, but our
yeah.
accent, just the accent. I remember these girls. I was there with my brother, and I remember these girls they just wanted to hear us say their names. They were just like, please say my name, say my name.
Oh, so it was
Because the
interesting.
accent, yeah, because the accent. So I can imagine, Uganda's, there's obviously accent, language, so many cultural differences.
Yeah.
All right, that's very cool. Now let's talk about when you were 13. Let's go back into your story and figure out how the heck.
Remembering when you went, we gathered to check if it looks like ours.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to hear a little bit about your childhood and figure out kind of how you ended up doing what you're doing. The last time we spoke, you told me a little bit about your history, but I want to dig into that. So
Yeah.
tell us, I guess, about your family. What was it like growing up when you were, 10, 12, 13, whatever, in your family?
Yeah, actually, 10, 13, um, I was more doing things of an adult.
Okay.
But I take you like back. I'm the firstborn in my family, and um, we were at the end. We were 11 brothers and sisters. So I was the firstborn.
Wow. Wow.
Now,
Okay.
the first child in the village, local setup, of course. When you are, by the time you are 3 years, you already start doing work because they have to send you pick this. So I started very early when I was really growing up, but life was very complicated. It was very complicated. My family was the poorest in the community. If there is competition for poor people, would take a medal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But my parents, my father was very strong. He had the belief that education is the key. And I remember when I was growing up, he would tell me that if you don't go to school, you'll be the one working in cleaning the roads and whatever. And so if you get an opportunity, you should go to school. But he never had capacity to send me to school. So
And
by
and
then,
I assume he didn't go to school,
no, no,
probably.
no, 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 he did not go to
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
Yeah, for them growing up, the parents would give them land. When you are like 15, you get married or whatever. But yeah, so what happens now? And we had a problem with religion. A Catholic and a Protestant majorly with the dominant religions. I cannot go. I'm a Catholic, so I should not go to a Protestant school. So
Okay.
I have to walk for like 1 hour to go to a Catholic school, no shoes, no packed lunch. I have to go, and I'll only drink water from the well, and then I come back home. So
How old were you when you started going to school?
yeah, I think it was for 5 years. I think it was 5 years. Yeah,
So you're walking an
yeah,
hour to
yeah,
school
yeah,
barefoot
yeah,
at 5.
yeah. No
Wow.
sweater, nothing, and
Yeah.
yeah, and of course the other children from the community are going. So I'm not going alone. So you're going together, and so I study, and by then the government was paying for us. It was not expensive, so the parent would only provide food and buy books for the for the children.
Okay.
But you find when I've gone, I have no book. I have to write on the ground, and I'm not the only
Right.
one
Yeah.
actually. You have to write on the ground. And so that period passed, and the first session of primary school, I passed it. But you know, you are going to school. As you grow up, you have no lunch. When time for lunch comes, the people who came with the packed lunch will go, and for you to stay there looking.
Ooh,
If
yeah.
you are lucky,
Okay.
they'll call you and say, you can come and eat. But if it happens every day, then they start mocking you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes you rather say, okay, let me just stay there. Maybe I start playing, whatever. If you are lucky, maybe they give you like a sweet potato. You put it in a polythene bag. You came with it, and yeah, so we'll maneuver.
Do
So
you remember ever just telling the other kids, "Oh, I'm not hungry," because you felt bad about the situation? So maybe just like, "Oh, no, I'm not hungry. I didn't bring lunch because I'm not hungry." Would you say something like that, or would they just know you were lying?
they would know. They would know because they
Yeah.
knew I'm from a very poor family. So
Okay.
sometimes, you know, a good Samaritan would say, okay, you know, please join us. They even pull my hand and say, please come and eat. And even in a community, they would mock my father, like when they are in a trading center, they say, for you, yeah, you are poor.
What did you Yeah, what did your father do to support a family with 11 kids? What kind of work was he doing?
Nothing. Like
Okay.
it was my mother who was doing all the work. My father sometimes he somehow became a cameraman at some stage, and then it
Okay.
didn't work. And then later he was trying to do some farming, but because he didn't have enough land, it was not possible. So during my childhood age of from 6 going 7, 8, 10, I would go with my mother to farm in people's gardens so that they give us food, you know, to take home and we
Okay.
eat with our
Right.
siblings, you know. So my mother
Right.
was doing most of the work with me because I was the
Okay.
firstborn. And
It,
so after the primary school, because you have to go to secondary school,
well, let me ask you this before we get there.
yeah.
So you had 11 kids in your family.
They
Did
kept
the other
every year my mother was producing, every year,
Yeah,
you know.
so your dad
So
was
they,
doing something.
yes, my dad was busy. So
He was contributing something to the family. Okay.
yes, yeah. But
Does,
the thing is, what you must understand that all 11 children were not together. Some died and all that. But
okay.
every year, my mother's job is to go and farm in people's gardens so that they give her food to feed the family.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
as I was growing, I have to escort her so that if they were to give her 1 kilo of beans, then they'll give her one and a half. You know,
Okay.
something
Yep.
like that, and you have to farm the whole day. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So it was very tough. You know, but then
I can imagine.
so my father was always, he's like, you have to study hard, you know. He was really very tough on me. And so after that level, I'm going to secondary school.
Hmm.
There was a secondary school nearby, and it was not expensive. So we start going. You have to walk for like 1.5 hours.
So
You go
how
there.
old are you when you start secondary school?
When I started the secondary school, I was 11. I
About
was
11.
11.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
So
did I do want to ask
I
you
think
this
I think
though?
I was 13. I was
13.
13 when I joined when I went to
Okay.
secondary school. Yeah,
I have two questions before we start talking about that. I
yeah.
guess the first is what did the typical family? Did the other families have that many kids, or did you have like what do you think the average number of kids was for a family in your community
8,
at that time? 8.
8.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
so
So it was
your family
it
was a
was
little
very
bit bigger than average. Yeah.
yeah. So it was because you see there is no family planning and so I mean what do you expect? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
tends to happen.
and so I start now the journey. Every day you have to go. If the school fee is like $10, you must pay at least $2. You know, at the start. So sometimes my father is lucky; he has the $2 to pay. You go, and then the community members actually they were in a trading center, and one whose child was going to school with me. she told him that for you, you are just let your child escort our children because for you cannot manage to pay school fees.
Okay.
You get it properly. That telling my father that for me I'm escorting the other children to school because he cannot afford to take a child in a secondary school.
Okay.
You know?
I want to understand that, Felix. What I hear you saying is because you didn't have money to pay for school, your job was to escort and maybe take care of the other kids, and then
No.
I'm confused.
So the community members were mocking my father, telling him they're laughing at him that for you cannot take a child in a secondary school. That what he can only do is to follow our children because for us we're able to pay. You know.
Okay. All right.
So that's how it was, and so my father remained very strong. So from time to time, he would write letters to take the principal of the school and ask him if he can let me, excuse me, if he can let me study, and then he can pay slowly by slowly. Maybe 1 year was done, and I was doing very well in class. I was very intelligent, and second year comes, and then life is becoming very complicated. So I go there and then I cannot pay school fees. It is really tough.
When you said it was $2, is it $2 per month?
Like $10. $10. It was like $30 per year.
Okay, $30 per year is what we're talking about. That's what it was.
Yes, by
and
that time,
was difficult.
Yes, it was very difficult. Yeah.
And I'm curious. I guess the other question I want to ask is because you were a firstborn, you were the first child in your family.
Yeah.
In Uganda, was that significant? Did you get special treatment? Did they make a bigger effort to get you through school because you were the first? And maybe number 11 in your family, did they have the same privileges, or what was that like being firstborn in the family?
You see, when you're the firstborn, they say firstborn, especially when you're a boy in a community, like a blessing. And that's why they even called me Musinguzi, which means a winner. So it's like my father was celebrating that he's won because his first child is a boy.
Okay, interesting.
So he tried. So the second year, it was difficult. That was in 1996. It was very difficult. So what happens now? I go back home. I cannot proceed, and my father is very stressed, and he's like, "Oh, my son cannot proceed." And so what happened?
Felix, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit more. When you say the second year was difficult, what was going on in your world that second year that made it so difficult?
Yeah, so my father could hardly raise the installment payments that I would take to school, and so he gave up and he said, I have tried my everything, and they cannot allow you to go to school when I have not paid.
Okay,
so I go back, and all my age mates, they are thinking of getting married, And so that was also my journey. I was like, okay, maybe I should try to build a small hut, the small round huts, and then and maybe I look for a woman. So one day I clear the ground, and then when my father comes in the evening, my mother tells him that your son is clearing the ground, and he says he's going to build and marry.
Wow.
My father called me.
You were like 14, probably.
Yes. So my father calls me, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to teach you a lesson. He told me to look for the... he told me to lie down, that he's going to beat me, And he told me that I must cover the land, that ground I was clearing, I must cover it. I should never think of that,
Okay, because what I hear is he didn't want you to give up on school, but he had given up on paying for your school.
Yeah, but he also did not want me to now start thinking of getting married, at another age. I should have been, by then you don't know the age very well, but I think I should have been like 15 or something,
Yeah.
So,
well, what did he want you to do? He didn't want you to build a hut and get married.
He was hopeful.
He didn't want you to give up.
Yeah, maybe he'll get money and then I go back. He was hopeful.
Okay, all right.
So at 16 years, I escaped from home. I escaped
Oh,
from
okay.
home. I have to look for survival, because I can't stay home. I'm not going to school. Uh, they are laughing at me. They are laughing at him. So you are not a
Mm-hmm.
fit in the community. So what happened? I went to a place called Lake Bunyonyi, look for a job, and I landed on a campsite.
How far away was Lake? Pronounce it for me again. Lake.
Lake Bunyonyi. I walked. I left around 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and I stole my mother's mat. I carried it along, and the idea was that I should sell it on the way and get some money to facilitate
Okay.
on
You
meals
you
and
stole
something. Yeah, I
you
walked for
stole
like 2 hours.
you stole her mat, like
Yes,
what
the
she would
mats.
sleep
The
on.
mats. Yeah,
Okay.
the mats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I
How
sold
did that
it.
work out?
Yeah, I sold it a few cents, and I was able to buy lunch on the way. You
Okay.
know. So I was very
Wow.
lucky that I got my first job at the campsite. It was called Karibuni Beach around Lake Bunyonyi.
Yeah.
And what made me get
How
that
did you
job?
get that? How did you get that job?
So
There's a story there.
lucky enough, the first family that I went to, I was actually looking for a job to be a shamba. The shamba boys, like
No.
people who like I come to your house and I have to do the cleaning. I have to do all the dirty work at home.
Okay. All right. Yep.
If you have cows, I can take care of them. I was looking for that kind of job. By luck, this family has a campsite at the lake, and they are looking for a person who can speak English, who
Okay.
can go and work. So I said, no,
Why did
speak
they
very good
want
English,
why did they want someone that spoke English
because it was a campsite where tourists were in overland trucks would go
for tourists?
for
Okay.
camping.
Okay.
For
Got it.
camping,
All right. Okay.
so I get this job. And I was so excited. The first time I reached there, like every day the tourists are coming, and I'm speaking English. I was doing the cleaning, I was doing the serving food, I was opening the gate, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm there, all smiley and all that. I was very happy that, my life has changed, my family's life is gonna change. And
Yeah.
so, this job is very interesting. And uh, after like 6 months, a young couple is called Abby and Miles. Abby was an American. She's called Abigail Kaplan, and the guy was called Miles from Australia. They were a young couple. So they are on an overland truck, and what happens is that they are wondering, I'm a young man, boy, I'm speaking good English. Other kids are going to school, me, I'm not going to school. And they see I'm working very hard than any other worker. So they pull me aside and they start asking me, how come
Yeah.
when you are here and the others are in school? I say, no, life became tough. I could not proceed. So I'm lucky to have gotten this job, and that's why I'm here. I'm raising money. So maybe in the future I can go back to school.
Okay. All right.
So they say, okay, wow, that's very interesting. So they asked me if they would sponsor me if I would go back to school.
Wow.
I said, yeah, that's good news. So they say,
It's
okay,
amazing news. That's wonderful.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. So they stopped their trip. They never proceeded from anywhere. They said, we are going to stay here. We want to help you go to school. So Lake Bunyonyi is very interesting. It has 29 islands. And one of the islands has a secondary school, has a primary school, has a church. So we went by canoe to ask for admission, to be admitted in that secondary school. So I go there, they give us the vacancy, they pay, and
Wow.
we go back now to my job to say, I'm saying bye-bye. I have got an opportunity to go back to school.
Okay.
My employers
Yeah.
were not happy about it. They locked my luggage in the storage and said, you are not going anywhere. So
Oh, wow.
this young couple, what they did was to say we are going to police to report. First of all, this is child labor, and secondly is this guy has an opportunity to go back to school. It was his dream. So that's how they accepted, and they went to school. Now the funny thing is that reaching at that school, remember they have paid for one term.
Right.
They have gone. We don't have any contact. They are moving. Like these guys who move, they get a job somewhere. After working, they proceed like traveling. That's what they were doing.
Right. Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
I have lost the other job. I'm in school. They are paid for first term. The second term, I didn't have money to pay.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, the school was on an island.
Yeah, on an island.
You said-
So it was. You could
So you said you
sleep
left
there.
Okay, so you left your job,
Yeah.
went to the island, and you stayed at the school. It was like a
Yeah,
boarding
Lake
school.
Bunyonyi Secondary School, yeah.
Okay. What did
Yes.
you remember what it cost for a term of, I assume, room, a place to sleep, food, and school
Everything was $300 per year.
per year? Okay. All right.
Yes, $300.
Just to put it
Yeah,
into
so it
perspective.
is
Okay.
three terms, so 100 for each term.
Oh, so okay, I got you. So there's three
Yeah,
terms in a year,
three
and
terms.
they
Yeah,
paid for the first term.
yeah. In some
Okay.
places they are in semesters, but for us it was just terms.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So what happened now? I've lost a job. These guys have gone. The school wants money for the second term.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because that island was very popular, it was very popular that it would host tourists. People would go there. They go in canoes and then they want tour around. There was also a leprosy colony, like where all the lepers would be, and they had some good history and all that. It was a very big island. So
Okay.
I started now thinking, what am I going to do? I cannot get my job back. So what I did, I just declared myself as a tour guide of the whole island. You
Ah,
know, you know,
yep.
you know. So I
Yeah,
just
I love that.
created a job by myself. So luckily enough, the first group that came was coming from the US. There were about 10 people. And so I see them coming in the canoe. I go and welcome them. I introduced them, and I was trying to speak American accent, you know.
Yeah.
When they told me we are from America, it's, oh, hi, I'm trying to speak American. And then all of them were laughing at me like, oh, you are funny. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
young man who was like 1 year older than me, maybe we were age mates, called Kevin Schulz.
Uh-huh.
He becomes my friend. He's
Cool.
like, you know what? You're a very interesting guy. And I told them why I'm doing that job while others are in class. He's
Uh-huh.
like, my mother is a teacher. I'm going to talk to her when I get back home. You know, I'm going to talk to her to see if she can sponsor you.
Wow.
You know?
And this was your very first, I guess we're going to
Yes.
call it a guide, your first
Yes.
guide trip,
The
right?
first group. You know,
Man,
you see
you've
how
got a
God
lot of luck
does,
going. Yeah,
how
okay.
God does wonders. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
you know what is, I love that you just took the initiative to
yeah.
just tell the universe, I am a guide.
Yes.
As opposed to, oh, maybe someday I can go to school and become a
No.
guide. You're just like, no, I am a guide.
I'm a tour guide because you
Yeah, I
remember,
love that.
all these guys who would bring the tourists knew me. I was working at the other campsite at the mainland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys go, there is no communication. It was only sending a letter. So I only gave him the address of the school. So the first
Okay.
check they sent through a post office, the $100 was in an envelope, sent to the
Uh-huh.
school post box,
Yeah.
and they received the envelope. It was for me. They picked the money and kept quiet.
Oh, geez.
So
Yep.
me, I'm there at school. I'm playing with the children of the guy who I think he was a the deputy head teacher. The children of the guy tells me, oh, we saw your letter at home.
Yeah,
Why did you
wow.
pick it? So we just went home, picked it, and a very good handwriting from Gail Schulz, who accepted to be my sponsor. Is saying that I'm going to be your sponsor. I've taken an extra job. She was a teacher in Illinois, and so an art teacher, so she got another job somewhere to raise money to pay for me.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
You see what happens? The first money she sends is swindled. I can't access it. So I went to town. There was a fax. By then fax and
Yep. I
letters
remember
were
those.
the king of communication. So I write a letter. I tell her, this and this happened. I didn't get the money, but here is the owner of this communication center. He has a fax. He also has a forex bureau. So you can talk to him. His contacts are these. He knows me. He's going to help me make sure that when you send money, it is reached. It reaches.
Wow. Okay.
So we agree now. It's like, okay, I'm going to send you, first of all, money to go and pay school fees, but also money that you're going to open your own postal box number, PO box number.
That's
So
smart.
that
Yeah.
when I send you a letter, it is going to come directed to you.
You don't have to worry about somebody else. Yeah,
Yes.
I get
Yeah.
it. Yep. Okay.
So that's how it came that I was owning the PO box at my early age, and now she started sending me school fees. I studied
Wow.
hard, and I was doing very well. I continued doing the guiding job at the island, Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And this is a woman you never met. You
No,
met her
I never
son.
met. I never met.
You
I
met
met
her
the
son,
son.
who was 1 year older than you.
Yeah,
And he went back and said, "Mom, I met this guy named Felix in
yeah.
Uganda.
He's
He's
a
really
funny
cool,
guy. I
but he
think he
needs
used
he
all
needs
the
some
sweet
money for
words,
school."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
girl accepted to pay for me, and that's how my journey began. But
Wow.
now, you remember, I have my other siblings. My parents
Yeah.
cannot afford to pay for them, so I took them up. I'm studying, I'm doing some other jobs, so I have to pay school fees for them. And so,
Wow. Okay.
when I was going to high school, uh, I started selling crayfish. The crayfish is like the lobsters. I
Yep.
started that business. And I connected with volunteers who were in the neighborhood. I would take crayfish to them, and so I earn extra money. So I
Okay.
met another friend of mine. Okay, she was a volunteer called Anne Davenport from the UK. She helps me, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make a banner for you to market your business and all that." So we become friends, and then she introduces me to her twin children. He had twins, and so when I was going to university, they said, "We are going to support you so that by the time you complete your university, you have enough pounds to start your own business."
Wow.
So I said, "Yes, this is very good. This is very good news." Now, I also continued selling my crayfish in Kampala, and every weekend I would sell crayfish in Kampala. Going
How
to
would you tell me more about that? What was that like? Because you were living on an island in the lake,
After after
and you were
after after college, secondary school, I left the island and I went to
oh,
study. The
okay.
high school was in town.
Okay. All right.
So that's when I started that business because I was so creative that I needed to start making some money. You
Okay.
know?
Were you still interested in the guiding, or did you
Yeah, yeah,
give
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
up
The
to sell?
guiding,
Okay.
yeah, the guiding. Actually, the guiding was still interested, but I what I did was to get other job to work at another campsite.
Okay.
During holidays, it was also at Lake Bunyonyi. So every holiday I'm working, but I'm also selling the crayfish.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So that Anne has got me a deal to raise money. They are sending me money every month. It is meant for school fees. I mean, for starting a business when I complete my studies. But remember, I have my siblings who need to go to school.
Right.
I touched that money. I started paying school fees for my siblings.
Yeah. Right.
So I somehow disappointed them.
Okay.
You
Well,
remember
that's
your,
that's
you
a
know,
tough spot to be in. It's hard to
you
sit
know,
with money in your pocket when your siblings are need help.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, but luckily I was able to also go ahead, of course, and start the business. But the idea, if you're giving me money, I need to do it for the purpose you've given it to me, because
Right.
they did not want me to carry the responsibility of my father. They were like, no. The other one is it is his responsibility, so he must take care. But I
Yeah.
understand the situation, you know. Yeah. So to cut a story short, is I go to university and I say I must go and study tourism.
Okay.
Yeah. So this tourism, I do it because this is where I have come from. It is what connected me to people, and I love
Yeah.
it. I love meeting people, and I say I must start my own business. So when I completed the university, I was working, and then later I went back to the campsite at Lake Bunyonyi to work, and then after a short time, I quit and I started working somewhere in the town where there was a local museum
Okay.
talking about the local people, about the culture of Bachiga people. Yeah, I'm a Muchiga by tribe. So the
Okay.
museum was majorly to showcase the culture, how the old people, the old people used to live, how they would do this, how they do whatever. And the idea was that we could also integrate some travel business, you know. There was a community project where volunteers were coming from Slovenia. The founder was a Slovenian guy called Miha, and when out the first trip, something happened, and we were not on the same direction, so I left. Then I started working at another job as a manager of a restaurant and an internet cafe, you know. And from there, it's when I started my first company called Felex the Cat. You know, you know the cartoon called Felix the Cat, right?
I do, yeah. Felix the Cat, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason why I called my company Felix the Cat Africa Safaris was everywhere I introduced myself to Americans, they would say, "Are you Felix the Cat?"
Oh, yeah, that makes
understand?
sense. I get that. Yeah, I get that.
So the idea was that if I name the company Felix the Cat,
people will remember it.
Very popular. It's going to be very popular. That was my idea. And with that popularity, I can start getting business.
Yeah, that's smart.
So that was like, yeah. But then what happened?
Well, let me ask you this: when you started Felix the Cat, what did that look like when you say I started my first business?
Yes.
Because in a sense, you started a business on the island when you decided I'm a tour guide.
Yeah.
And then you started your safari company.
Yes.
But at least you'd gone to school. You went to school and studied in tourism.
Yes.
So you start Felix the Cat. Did you go out and build a website? Did you go out and print brochures and signs? Or what did that mean when you say I started the business?
Yeah, so it was very funny. I was targeting like volunteers who come in that region as my first customer. So
Did they have money?
Yeah, I mean, I have like brochures. If they want to go for a day excursion, I'm there. If they want to go to see the gorillas, I am there.
Okay, so the volunteers that were working there, they had some money. So that was
in that region.
You were able to get some business.
Volunteers.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
And
all right.
I have brochures. I take them to hotels and all that. So the people have to call me. And surprisingly, my first client was from the U.S. You know.
Yeah.
She's called Hillary Doll. So the husband Henry was visiting her. So Hillary says, I'm gonna give you the business. You're going to take us to a national park. We want to go here and here. I made the calculation and I hired the car. I got a driver because I didn't know how to drive. So I went as a guide. To the national park I had never been to, But the driver knew where we were going. So but I was able to create an itinerary. I costed it, and they paid me. I paid everything. So they were my first customers.
That's so cool.
And
did they know? Did they know they were your first customers?
Yes, I told them.
Okay, all right.
Even up to now, celebrating 20 years, I said you should be here because you opened the doors for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then after that,
so
of
cool.
course, business was not easy. You could not get business and all that. So now that's why I went back to the tour guiding part,
Okay.
And now...
well, let me ask you this real quick. When you started this business, were you supposed to have a guide license? Did you have a guide license? Did the government care that you were promoting your tourism business and guiding in a national park, or was that okay?
So this one, how it works is that, like I started business, you are my client, so I'll take you to the national park and I pay entrance fees.
Okay.
And I pay for all the other activities, so the government benefits in that line. But I did not have a license. I did not have, but the driver
were you supposed to? Were you supposed to have a license?
I think so.
We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah,
we don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a license. I was supposed to pay tax, but as a beginner, it was not possible. It was not possible.
No, I know. It's hard to start a business when you've got to pay licensing and
Yes.
Okay.
So
we won't talk about that anymore.
As luck comes in, I know a certain Dutch guy. He runs a restaurant, and his son had started a tour company. And I tell him that I want to be a tour guide for the company, and so they give me the opportunity. Mm-hmm. The first opportunity they gave me is when I met Vincent, who is now
who's now your business partner. Yeah.
Vincent Van Hoff, who is the co-founder with me, who we started the company with, Kazinga Tours. So now he did not know that it was my first trip, But I had a driver. I am going as a tour guide, but I do not know. I mean, I know facts about a national park, but I don't know. I've never been there. Yeah. So we go. I try to understand the interest of him and his wife. So we reached somewhere. We are supposed to have lunch, and by then there were many internet cafes in each town. So you have no internet on the phone, so you have to go to the internet cafe. So we stopped. He wanted to go to the internet cafe. I said, I also want to go to the internet cafe because I need to see if I have got an email. So he's trying to ask me, what do you do? Why do you have to check internet? I said, no. The owner of this company is my friend, and he knows I have a small company, so I'm checking to see if I can, I have an inquiry or something.
Right, yep.
So we go, and then he had told me if I see any nice sunset, I should tell him. He told me and the driver, but actually I'm the one who was driving and the other guy was a guide. But I seemed later to be, I was seen as more knowledgeable than the guide. So immediately we reached the national park. He was busy having a drink. I saw a very nice sunset. I went and called him. I said, there's a very good sunset. Please come and we go, you take the photo. On the River Nile, very nice sunset. So he went and took the picture, and he told me, you are the first person who I told in Africa that, I like this, and then immediately you're on the point and you have showed it to me. So well done. Okay. So that's how the connection started. You realize that I'm very focused. I know what I'm doing. I'm working very hard to achieve many things. And during the trip, because it was for 3 weeks, we agreed that, I need to change the company name. Felex the Cat was funny. So I now had to change it later, but we selected many names, but we settled in on Kazinga Tours. Kazinga Tours, because we have a second largest national park in Uganda called Queen Elizabeth. And formerly it was Kazinga National Park until the Queen visited, and the Queen of England visited the area, and they changed it into her name. So I was lucky to have that name, for my company. So that is how Kazinga Tours came in place.
Were you happy about that? Like when Vincent said you should change your name from Felix the Cat, did you agree with him originally, or did you kind of want to keep the name, or what was that like?
No, he explained to me the meaning, like what you must do for you to have a successful business. Always want to ask why this name and all that. So he thought I needed to have a local name that had some influence, and I dropped the other one. So I already knew why I should drop it.
Okay, but it makes sense, kind of, if you want to make money and maybe sell to higher end tours and stuff like that, you might maybe want a respectful name that has some significance to the community. I love Felix the Cat, but I get that. All right, okay. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so the idea, we said we are going to start a company, but looking at my history, where I've come from, let us create very good experiences to people who will in turn go back and change communities. We have a special concept whereby the tourists will come and visit Uganda, not look at money, but create experiences that will make them fall in love with Uganda and leave an impact in the community.
Nice.
So because of that approach, the two worlds of the Dutch and the Ugandan complementing each other, were able to achieve that because education in Europe is more advanced. I was here with a lot of course, excitement. So we had to connect, and and so because of that, we have been able to run the company for 20 years, which is a very big milestone.
Very cool. And we're recording this
in 2006. 2006 is when we opened it, and then 1 year later is when we got our first agent from Germany, called Romeo Kluger. He's like,
Okay.
I've seen you guys have a good website, so I want to see if I can partner with you. So our first
Very cool.
agent from Europe, you know.
How did you start I guess this is a question I asked before about something else, but how did you invent to actually start the company? What was like, what happened that like, okay, now we're in business? Kazinga, was it a website? Was it just a business agreement, a contract? How did you start the business?
In the beginning, actually, he wanted to help me, but I said, you know, you have seen my journey. It will be good if we do this together because he had a very big job in Netherlands. You know, he
Hmm.
was a manager earning a lot of money, and I don't think he ever thought that he would really be an investor in Uganda. So,
Right.
so we started small. Like I registered it, then he worked on the website, worked on the graphics, have a
Hmm.
logo and all that, and then we started the marketing. So in 2007, it was my first time to go in a plane and go to Europe. You know,
Okay.
to go and attend
Yeah.
an expo and
What was
present
that
the
like?
company. Yeah,
What was that like?
being in a plane.
Well, just, leaving Uganda, getting on a plane, going to Europe, like you're, the African guy coming over from Africa to Europe, never been out of Africa. Did you feel welcome? Was it you're pretty courageous guy, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming it wasn't
very
that big of
courageous.
a
It
deal.
was everything
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think really I was focusing even in selling the company. I was so excited, seeing the tall buildings, seeing the trends, seeing the
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
like everything. Like you can imagine, I landed at Schiphol Airport in the morning. It was I think 6:45 in the morning, and I
Hmm.
just see the Burger King, which I'd never seen, and I
Right.
I had to order for a burger, which was like it was called the Whopper. I had it was my
Yeah.
breakfast,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
exciting. Yeah.
so it was very interesting to, of course, I was so excited, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you feel like did you feel like, oh man, this is all working? Look at this. This is all working out in a way that you never imagined when you were 14 and clearing the ground to build your hut.
I kept believing, I kept believing, and
Yeah.
my mother, she's so prayerful, like she's always praying for me. So I always believed, I kept believing. I knew that, with hard work, honesty, sticking to a principle would really bring results.
This is going to maybe sound like a strange question to some people. Like it even sounds strange to me and I haven't asked it yet, but do you ever reflect and think, I'm happy that my dad laid me down on the ground and whooped my ass?
Yes, and because of that, right now my father in the community is he has respect. He dresses very
Wow.
well. He's very proud that his toughness, even when he had no capacity to pay for me, that
Yeah.
he thought he would at some stage get money and take me back to school. So his dream also came to
Oh,
pass, and so I had to now
I get
build
it.
for for them a house. He's always dressed in a suit. He drinks beer anytime he wants, So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Wow.
also because of that story whereby a girl had to pay for me, and I had never seen her,
Hmm.
until 2019, after 25 years, that I had to go and
Yeah.
meet her physically, which was an emotional moment.
Yeah. Tell
That
me about
story,
that.
yeah, it was really, I mean, we were all in tears, and you can imagine, what $300 every year did, to make sure that, I go back to school. She paid for me at the university. And so that story has made impact in society because most of my clients, they read my story and they say we want to help another child somewhere. So we have very
Hmm.
many children who have been sponsored because of the legacy that Gail started. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think
Tell me about how you met her, where you met her. Like, how did you end up meeting her?
no, no, no. You remember I told you that I met her son who had come to on holiday, and then
Right. I
so so
Yep.
25 years later is when I had to now go with my wife so that we go and meet her physically.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear
Yeah,
is
so
how
we
did you
went
and your wife,
Florida,
where did you meet her?
Florida, Crystal River.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went. She came with her husband. They picked us at the airport. I gave a very
Yeah.
big hug to her. I'll send you that picture when
Yeah.
we were holding each other, and we were all in tears. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me,
Wow.
seeing her like physically was the biggest achievement. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's very
and
cool.
so right now, just recently, I started a community project more in honoring her. It is 20 community project Uganda, and it is majorly for supporting schools. It's supporting the school where I started from, and later I'll support other schools, sponsoring children who are in a very bad shape that I was in during that time, who are in similar situations, supporting women who do not have, like single women, supporting orphans who are, the children who are
Yeah.
there, they are having hopes, but they have no access to opportunities,
Right. Tell me the name of the project again. I want to make sure that our listeners hear it correctly.
It is called Twende Project Uganda. Twende Community Project.
When?
Twende means let's go. Twende is like a Swahili word.
Ah,
Yeah,
oh,
Twende,
okay.
Twende
20
Community Project
community
Uganda.
project.
You
Okay.
know? Yeah,
Felix,
and
do me a favor. Do me a favor later and send that to me. I'll put that into the show notes so our listeners can
fantastic.
go there and get
Fantastic.
that as well. So, all
Yeah.
right, that's very
Yeah,
cool.
I will do that. And you can imagine just a story. You know, some of my clients have told me that, this money that girls sacrifice to get an extra job to pay for you is just one dinner in a nice restaurant in the US,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And she sacrificed. She had all the energy and said, let me help this guy because, but, you look at the journey and you're like, these miracles, like the way everything was happening. And you see now we have a very successful safari company in Uganda. We have touched many people's lives, So you see how you touch one and then the whole line, like this, yeah.
But what I love about your story is there's a couple elements. One is the people, just the people that you were fortunate enough
Yeah.
to connect with. Obviously, is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of it, because here's the thing: every person that you've mentioned that helped you move forward, those same people have met a lot of other people that did not take advantage of those opportunities and did not follow through.
Yeah.
So my point is, you've got meeting the right people, but also your ability maybe to seize the opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe even to ask for it in a sense.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't say straight out, "Hey, will you give me money?" But you shared your story,
Yeah.
and you made it clear, and they saw something in you that maybe they didn't see in other people. So
Yeah.
it's a combination of you supporting yourself in a sense, but them supporting you, them seeing all that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think you would, like if I asked you, what, Felix, it sounds like your life has been so easy, and I know it's not, but you just seem like you're very lucky. You just these things keep happening for you. But if I asked you, what's the secret to your success, what would you say?
Yeah, first of all, I'm a very honest guy.
Okay, that's good. That helps.
you know, and I came up from a society like where my mother told me that, always be on the right side, let people judge you, but for you, you know who you are,
Okay.
And I have been, I think, of course, many people have taken advantage of me because I'm a good person. I worked very hard to give everything to other people before I think about myself,
Okay.
And because I started something, the business I love, I'm doing something that I love, and we agreed with Vincent that let's not look at money. Let's create a difference. Let's have very special experiences, and these experiences are going to change lives. We're going to come back to you, and later we'll have capacity to be happy, And here we are.
20 years later.
20 years later. And you know, I told you about Romeo Kluger.
Yes.
He was our first tour operator outside Uganda to trust us with his clients. There was no way we could appreciate him. We said later, we are going to put you also in the company. We appreciate you
Okay.
for having trusted us. So, like I mentioned earlier, we are not looking at money, but you are building networks.
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
believe that together we work harder, we achieve together, and we make an impact in the community. I can tell you that all this is on the ground. We are very happy that everything is going very well.
What do you have planned for the next 20 years?
Yeah, so after we started before we used to have the combination of B2C, B2B, and whatever. But when we were hit by COVID-19, we realized that the trend has changed, has shifted. So that's when we set up the 5-year plan with the strategy of B2B, whereby we represent companies, and we have now covered 3 years, and it's going very well, representing companies. So far, we're the best destination management company in Uganda, and because we are flexible, we understand the business, how it works, how to help our agents to be competitive in their markets. It has become easy that some even tell others to connect with us, and we work with them. So what we want to do is that after the 5-year strategy, we want to carry the same strategy. We take it to either to Kenya or Tanzania. We start one of the countries. We'll start partner with the local person, use the same strategy, aiming at make sure that the agents we are working with will represent them 100% in East Africa. Working with local people who are born in that country, and we hope the next 20 years we'll have achieved that in all the East African countries.
Nice. I love that. Do you have somebody, we talked a lot about your childhood, what it was like growing up. Tell me about, I don't know the answer to this question, so I'm just going to ask. Did you say you and your wife went to Florida? So there's a family there. So tell me a little bit about you finally got married and you didn't live in a hut. You didn't build a hut, it sounds like. So tell me a story about, tell me what's going on in your family with your wife. Do you have kids? Are they interested in the work you do?
Yeah. I married, actually. You see, after school, I did not want to waste time. So I thought it was easier that I could have a family. So I married. I never planned. I never went for courtship. I never did anything. Just, I need to have a woman. So I just met a random woman, and we,
Gosh, I hope she's not listening to this.
No. What I'm saying, like, what happened?
A random woman, okay.
No. So we got married, but for sure, we never had like a connection. We didn't have things like the process of really choosing a partner. I think is supposed to be really take time, study each other and whatever. So my first marriage was not successful, so I had to
I got it.
put it aside until I later met a young lady, Maria, who she was young but very intelligent, and she found me when I was in a very complicated situation. I think I can sum it up that I was disorganized. Like you have opportunities around you, but you are working, you are not organized and whatever. And so she opened most of the things to me, like, you're a very intelligent guy. You have this you have this talent. You have this, like revealing, trying to expose what you are. You can be having a personality that you don't know. So me, I was just going to work, going back home, and that's it. But the connection was fantastic, that we connected well, and, I have 3 children with her, and we are really doing very well. She's now working in the company.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, she's a tour consultant. She represents many agents, operators, works on them, and so.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
I'm a very happy man. I'm taken care of. like an African man, you know.
I love it.
I do
Hey, do
not go
you?
to the kitchen, you know.
Uh-huh. Well, and she works as a tour consultant for the
Yeah.
company.
But you
So
know, like,
yeah, yeah.
not that
That's
I
cool.
force her to do, but she takes good care of me. You know,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah,
Do you guys talk about business at home, or are you
yeah,
able to? You do. Okay. All
yeah.
right. Because some people are like, well, if you work with your partner, then you should not talk about business at home. I was just curious, but I think tourism. I don't know. Tourism can be stressful,
Yeah, I
for
know.
sure.
The
As you
thing
know.
is,
Yeah.
actually, what is funny is that our office is in the same compound with our house.
Okay. All right.
So
Oh yeah. That's.
we leave the house, we go to office where the other workers come and join us, and
Uh
we're
huh.
together. Then we go back home, which is a few meters, just a few steps, and of course you have to understand the situation. Otherwise, it can be boring. But you know, you go through it. Sometimes you take a holiday, you go
Yeah.
somewhere, and you know, and yeah.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My first child is 23 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he's an artist. He does the drawing with the pencil.
Uh huh.
Like he can like draw you within a short time and then frame you the drawing.
Oh cool.
Yeah, so he's now doing a course in animation and visual effects.
Okay,
And
that's cool. Was he ever, when growing up, was he, because if he's 23, your business is 20 years old.
yeah,
Did he get involved in the business at all? Was
no,
that
not
something he was
yet.
interested in, or he just had no desire to
No,
do what
not
you were
yet.
doing?
He's actually he started his coffee company. He's into coffee. He
Oh, okay.
started a coffee company, and then so I have my other the second one is a daughter who is 20 years. The other one
Hmm.
is 18. You know, but I have a son called Kevin who is a footballer. He plays soccer. He's
You said his name. Wait, you said his name
Kevin.
is Kevin.
Kevin, yeah.
Is there a is
I
there a
connected
connection
it.
to another?
I connected it. It was more of appreciating Kevin having connected me to the mother.
Yeah, I got that. I
Yeah,
recognize
so
you have two Kevins
I
in your
named,
life.
yeah, so I named him in a way because what can I give Kevin?
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
that's a huge tribute. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
it's a very
Very
huge
cool.
tribute, and so Kevin is a soccer player. He's making 13 years. Yeah, he's doing very well. He's very good, and I think he'll end up in Europe or in America. He'll really want to play for professional soccer.
Wow. And he's your youngest?
No. The youngest is 6 years. He's born.
Oh, okay. Okay.
My
So
youngest is six
Kevin
years.
is
Yeah.
okay. So Kevin is the 18-year-old.
No,
We got
no.
to get all this. I'm
Kevin,
totally lost.
Kevin is 12 years.
Okay. I'm counting.
So I
How
have
many
a
kids do you
daughter.
have?
So I have 7 children. I have 7 children.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yes.
I heard three, but I
Yeah.
understand three
No,
with Maria or
no.
something like
I
that.
was trying to
Okay.
make, so I have 7 children in total, and yeah.
All right. Are any of them excited about tourism? That's the question I'm trying to get
I
to.
am yet to find out because one of the girls is she likes IT related things, and she likes cosmetics things. And the other
Hmm.
girl just completed a course in a cabin crew. She wants cabin.
For
She wants to work in as a air hostess.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
travel
Then
connection. Yeah.
Kevin is in soccer. He wants to be a businessman. He hasn't picked interest. Then the daughter, another daughter, is she wants to be a doctor. You know, so maybe at some stage I'll get one who is interested.
Right. Okay. Would you like one or more of them to be interested? Because sometimes people are like, I don't want my kids doing what I do. I want them to go do their own thing. And other people are like, I want my kids to be involved and carry on the company. What is your philosophy
No, the
or
philosophy, of
your
course,
approach?
the philosophy is that I want the children to independently, you know, think what they want to do and
Hmm.
open the door if they feel they are interested in tourism. That I can mentor them into being entrepreneurs in tourism, and yeah, so it is always good when people are not forced to say, okay, you must come and work with me, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. I get that. One thing I know I want to touch on, and then I'll ask you what else we should cover, but We talked a little bit about your community project.
Yeah, yeah.
And helping other kids that are in, young kids that are in similar situations to what you were when you were younger, to make
Yeah.
sure that they have an opportunity to go to school.
Yeah.
We're going to have a link in the show notes so people can learn more about that. But
Yeah.
just in general, what do you want people in the U.S. or Europe or other parts of Africa, anybody listening to this, how would you describe the process? Like, what would you say? Hey, you can help a kid go to school by doing this. How easy is it? What is involved? What should people know about what it would take to help?
Yeah, so far what we're doing is that we always take kids who have completed primary school and they are going to secondary school, because most of them end up getting married or whatever, and so we say let's look for those children who have completed the primary 7 and they have performed well, or even if they didn't perform well, but they are from very complicated families,
Right.
very difficult families. So we have partnership with a few schools where the children go, and after the secondary school, we always opt to take them to do the technical education, so that they learn a skill, that this skill can help them to be self-employed, or they can change a life or whatever. And then, because it is not good to now take the children to school, then they go to university, they are doing an art course where they cannot have a skill,
Right. Yes.
So,
Yep.
so we try to help them, then we help them to create jobs for themselves, or they can use their hand to earn a living.
Somebody listening to this wants me to ask, is this boys and girls?
Both.
Yes,
We do
okay.
not
I just wanted
discriminate.
to-
So
okay.
we have a list, then people normally choose. We do not, when people say, I want a child to be sponsored, then we ask community members, they have leadership, they recommend a child who should be sponsored. Because we can put names of the children on the website or whatever, but I don't think it's a good idea. It's better.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it is better that there is a person who is willing to change the life of a child. Most of them will say, "Oh, I want to help a girl." Another will say, "I want to help a boy." And then send them like 2 names. Then they select you, because always have a story on each child, and then they.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And we got a sponsorship from a group of women in Germany. They have sponsored a project of menstrual health, like to help young girls learn
Sure.
about menstruation, teach them how to make the reusable pads, So it is going to start next week. We already got the funds, $1,700. It is going to train 250 girls.
$1,700
Yes.
to train 250 girls.
Yes, and they are going. Each of them is going to have is going to learn how to make a reusable pad, because
Okay.
we have to
Let's-
buy materials, and this. So they learn how to make a reusable pad so that they are confident, because most girls they drop out of school because they have no pad. They have to wrap themselves with some funny cloth or something. So
Yeah.
we're trying to build the confidence, especially in the girls, so that they are comfortable in the class. They have a reusable pad. They can use it. They wash it. So we want to make sure that they have at least two pads.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a topic that a lot of people outside, in some places, aren't aware of. They don't realize that's an issue. And I remember when I was visiting Africa at one point, I was in it's probably Zambia, and that topic came up there as well.
Yep.
And they explained how these young girls, they get to 12, 13 years old, they either just quit going to school completely,
Yep.
or they miss a whole week of school every month because of these issues. And it's hard. I think it's hard for some people to get their head around, well, why do they need to learn how to make pads? Why can't we just make sure they have pads? Like, it
see,
seems
now-
easier to just make, so help me understand that.
So you see, the normal pads, they are very expensive, first of all. And you just use them once and throw away.
Right?
So we are looking,
And they're expensive. Yeah.
We are looking at the sustainability, where there are now materials that you can use. We teach them how to make the pads themselves, and then they can use them over and over. After they have used them, they can wash them.
Because if you say to a family, okay, here's 100 pads, and then when you run out, you're going to need to go find more. It's expensive, so it gets
Very
to the point where it's
expensive.
like, well,
I mean, they are struggling to afford a meal, and then you are talking about.
that's what I'm saying.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
When you have to decide between, okay, are we going to make sure our daughter has, or our 5 daughters have pads to go to school, or are we going to feed the family? The choice is going to be, you know what? Maybe they just need to stay home because we need to feed them. Is more
They
important
cannot
than sending
afford.
them
They
to school.
cannot afford to buy pads. Even the mothers cannot afford.
Yeah,
Many mothers,
yeah, it's
many mothers in the villages cannot afford. They don't.
yeah, that's
So the
yeah,
idea is that we want to start with the children, but after we want to extend, if we get other funds, is to extend to the mothers. You know.
sure, yeah,
But there is a motivation, of course. Now, if a child is having a pad and the mother does not have a pad,
yeah, yep,
yeah. So we want to train the mothers, and when a woman is confident, everything is perfect.
yes.
So we already have
Life is better for everybody.
yes,
Yeah,
we already have the concept. What will be done? First of all, it is not about having a pad, but also teaching them about the whole process. How should they be clean, and what they should do, and things like that. They teach them about early pregnancies, and it is a complete story. So they'll be there for 4 days, and it's gonna make a very big impact. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're doing some really cool things. I knew you were before we chatted, and after this conversation, it's like I was able to connect all the dots to kind of why you're doing this stuff. Your why is really big, and I really really enjoy that. Felix, we discussed a bunch of things. I'm curious, what did I forget to ask you, or what do you wish I would have asked you, so you can share with our audience before we wrap up?
First of all, I think we've covered most of the things, but going back to the business side, currently, I have not gotten an opportunity to connect with American tour operators who sell trips in Africa.
Okay.
Who sell trips to Africa, and so I think it would be how I can connect to that portfolio of American tour operators, but also inviting whoever is listening that Uganda is a very beautiful country. It's the pearl of Africa. We have the more than half of the total population of the gorillas. We have the biggest population of the mountain gorillas. We have the chimpanzees. We have the big five. We have the source of the River Nile. If you've heard of the River Nile, I think very interesting locations. It is the best place where you can go with your children. It's the best place where you can come. You spend two weeks. You do the hikes. You do safari. You see everything. And so I think it would be nice even to invite you to come to Uganda.
I would love that. Yeah, absolutely.
So that you see what I'm telling you. You see it on the ground, and then you can go back and extend the story back home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah. I know we've got people listening to this right now that if Uganda's been on their radar, but maybe they haven't, whether it's somebody wanting to go travel to visit there or a tour operator that sees an opportunity in their offerings. And that's why we do this. We do this to have conversations with folks like yourself so we can make connections. So we can make, because we've talked a lot about connections and the importance of that. So very, very, very cool. Felix, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm very happy that you hosted me, because I have to congratulate you also to have the courage of telling stories, sharing the experiences to your followers. I think it's something very, very, very nice. I think you are changing lives and you don't know.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah, because I've just shared in my story how my life changed. And I know there are very many people who are going to listen to this story and they say we want to change a life somewhere.
Yeah. Well, so, on either side, Felix, because they can hear your story, and if they're struggling, if they're trying to figure out their situation, they'll find inspiration from it. And if they're on the other side where they want to support somebody and they're able to support somebody else to make it through that time, it's great. We've hit kind of both sides of that. And that's why these conversations are so special. So thank you.
Yeah, and maybe the request is if you can reach out to Gail and give my appreciation to her, because I have said thank you very much many times. I have said, what can I give you? So reaching out to her and say, I met your son, I had him on a podcast and he talked about you and he told how you changed his life and how your support has changed his community. I think it will be something very instrumental, the biggest gift I can ever give her, which I think, as we celebrate 20 years of Kazinga Tours, that you say this is your gift,
Very cool. Wow. What a I'm not sure I've had somebody tribute a podcast episode before, so that's awesome. I will do that. Felix, when we're done, you send me her contact details, you connect me with her, and I'll reach out and I will make sure that she sees this conversation. I'm sure you will as well. But it's great. We're changing lives, and thank you for coming on and sharing your story about how Gail helped you change your life, and you're inspiring people. Good job, man. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, let's stay in touch and do this again.
Yeah, and probably host you here soon in Uganda.
I hope so. It's the more I've learned about Uganda, the more intrigued I am by it, and it's absolutely. So when I swing by that neck of the woods, I'll definitely.
Yeah, so if you have connections to, if you know some tour operators in America or your other connections.
Well, hopefully they're listening.
Who would
hopefully
would like to connect to get a reliable agency, because like I told you, with my connection in Europe and Uganda, we are the best, and we have really been there. 20 years is not easy. Yeah,
it's not easy at all.
That's those connections. Yeah.
Well, and that's what another part of the show is. It's big world made small. It's to create connections to make this big world feel smaller by creating those connections. Yeah. And I guess while we're at it, might as well mention that something new that we've done recently over at bigworldmadesmall.com is set up kind of an AI assisted network and community of folks like Felex and others from around the world, including agents and operators in the U.S. So exactly what you're discussing. Yeah. And that whole goal was to create better connections between all the folks that we've had on the show. Yeah. So Felex, I'm going to suggest you do it, and anybody that's listening to go over, you can look up Felex on there. Just look up Uganda. He's going to pop up. And you can, watch this conversation, obviously, or, connect with him right there through the website. So, Felex, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And, of course, Felix's website will be right in the show notes as well. Okay. That's the most important part. So, Felex, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right.
Have a great day. All right. Bye-bye. I trust you enjoyed listening to the conversation as much as I enjoyed recording it. If you're enjoying the Big World Made Small podcast, please take a moment to tell the algorithm by subscribing and posting a review so that others can benefit as well. I also invite you to take a quick trip over to bigworldmadesmall.com and join our private adventure travel community to receive new episode notifications, special access to our guest experts, and perhaps even some exclusive partner offers that we haven't discussed on the podcast. I'll publish another episode soon. Until then, keep exploring. It's the best way to make a big world feel just a bit smaller.